Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to Avalon. Thank you for joining me here today. So we are doing your zodiac reading, Scorpio. I've already gone through the cards and meditated on them, prayed on them, shuffled extensively, and then I went through and intuitively picked out your cards today, okay? And so how I do that is by tuning into your energy, obviously shuffling the cards a lot first, and then asking for the story of your Scorpio energy, and I go through the cards, and the right ones seem to have like a magnetic charge almost that you can like feel. Anyway, so that's how we get the spread we have, and I've been doing different types of spreads lately, just seeing which I like the most, and whichever that is I'll probably end up sticking to. So today what we're doing is a recent past energy card. We have I pulled two cards for the outcome, a potential outcome, right? Because even just seeing this video could change the outcome of what the current energies suggest will take place, okay? And then we have four cards for your current energy. They'll explain the story of exactly what's going on with you, okay? Just to save time, I also pre-selected your guidance cards here, which are from the Psychic Tarot. I haven't looked at any of these or the Rider-Waite ones that I already picked out here. But one thing that I will do on screen, if we have enough time, I'm going to select some karma cards for you guys as a particular guided message, okay? Karma cards have are broken up into astrology sections here. We have planets, signs, and houses, okay? And so what I'll do is go through, select a planet, a sign, and a house for you, and combine the cards to give you a particular message. They each have messages on them, so this is less about intuiting so much as well, I guess I intuit which cards to pick, so you know, take it as you will. Quickly before, whoops, forgive me, I just knocked a card tin on the ground there. Before we get going into the read, and I set the timer to go, I'm trying desperately to keep my readings shorter than they have been lately. Unfortunately, there will be a buzzer going off in the middle of this thing, but I will reset it as many times as necessary to get out the message that is meant to be out, okay? I've taken to starting actually writing down the pre-energies, because I find once I start recording, I kind of, they often, some of the messages evade me. So what I was getting while meditating in the pre-read, I guess, but before I actually started shuffling the cards, what I got was that what's going on with Scorpio right now has a lot to do with your root chakra, which is that bottom one down there, if you can see it, or I guess we could relate it here, this red color, the root chakra, and then a lot to do with the solar plexus chakra, okay, the yellow one there, or the yellow one down there. In the pre-read, I was able to see that related to Scorpio feeling victorious, feeling content and capable, prepared and qualified, okay? And then what I got from that was that Scorpio is getting their basic needs met, okay? So we can think of the root chakra as like survival, a lot of that survival stuff, okay? So Scorpio's getting their basic needs met, and perhaps even it's that Scorpio is meeting their own basic needs instead of maybe allowing others to help them meet their needs. Okay, so Scorpio is getting their basic needs met, and having this, this basic level of needs met is improving the confidence of the Scorpio, their sense of power, their sense of capability. Okay, so in this way, their strength is helping them conquer fears. Okay, and again, the root chakra also leads to fear. Okay, so in reviewing this, I'm seeing that how to explain this? The Scorpio had a fear of not being capable enough, not being strong enough to meet their own needs when I won't say the rubber hits the road, but when the time came, right? But they were actually able to meet their own needs, and in this way their own strength is conquering their fear, and that conquering of the fear is in turn improving the confidence of the Scorpio. Okay, alrighty then, so I'm gonna, please excuse me here for a second, I'm just going to start the timer at 10 minutes. All right, so let's get into the recent past energies. Oh, got something around. Anyway, recent past energies. All right, we have the Eight of Swords. All right, now this kind of looks a little like dicey, but having it in your recent past energies, actually, it's a good thing. So the energy of this card, swords are the element of air, the suit of the mind, of truth, problem, solutions, and communication. Okay. So I see that I'm connecting with a Scorpio who has recently been feeling trapped by beliefs. Okay, trapped by beliefs they've had about their own sovereignty, about their own capability. Okay, and these beliefs have literally surrounded the Scorpio to the point where they felt totally and completely caged in. Okay, but the issue with this card is actually that it's sort of the card of uncovering the illusions in your belief systems. Okay, so this person, in many decks, they're tied up, but really they have the ability to get free, and so does the Scorpio. Okay, because these swords, they represent ideas that keep us locked in one place. They represent sort of oppressive energies. Okay, whether that's thoughts that you have, thoughts that others have that they communicate to you, belief patterns. Okay, and this person in this card is blindfolded because it denotes the way that we are often blind to the very things that are keeping us caged. Okay, and I want to say that that Scorpio, these beliefs have sort of pinned, not just pinned you down, certainly that's the case, but pinned fear to your sense of ability. Okay, so these are beliefs that have sort of, I want to say tacked on, like literally like something that pins something to something else. So these are beliefs that have laced your sense of strength, of sovereignty, of the ability that you are, the thought that you are capable. They've laced that with fear, okay? So, but again, this is a past energy that you have gone through, okay? I'm also getting a Scorpio is far from home. You see the castle off in the distance there, okay? All right, so we're gonna move on to, I'm trying to go a little bit quicker today because I feel like I could riff off a lot of cards. Oh, and I even forgot. Okay, so what I was doing previously was flipping one card at a time. That way I get as much intuitive information off of each card as possible to give you guys. And then as I go along, it's fun for me because I get to confirm the intuitions that I was getting earlier on. But it takes way too long. So it might be something I can do in the future, but as it is now, we are actually going to, readjusting myself here. We are going to flip all the cards at once except for guidance. We'll go to that after. And this way, we don't have to go over redundant information, okay? So your current, why can't I pick it up? There we go. Current energies. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Okay, an outcome. Wow. Awesome. You guys have an awesome reading here today. All right. There's something big going on in the life of Scorpio. All right. We have two major arcana cards that have come up. So the tarot deck is broken up into the minor arcana and the major arcana. They're much more minor arcana cards and there are major arcana. The major arcana are all about major shifts, major pivot points, transitions, big energies that are going on in the life of the Scorpio, okay? So you actually, there are two in your reading here, the major arcana cards, but there's also a major arcana in your bottom of the deck energy, okay? So the one thing that a lot of readers do is when they're done laying out their spread, they flip the deck and have a look at the cards, the card at the bottom of the deck, okay? And often what we do is read the layout in through the lens of the bottom of the deck energy, okay? So your bottom of the deck energy is the Lovers. Like I said, it's a major arcana card. The Lovers relates to many different things. What I'm getting here is balanced decisions, okay? Yeah, balanced decisions that are coming after a period of major turmoil, a period of how do I say this? It's not I don't feel self-victimization so much as a period of immense change, part of which was brought on by the Scorpio, but it was brought on by the Scorpio not because of any deficiency or whatever on the part of the Scorpio, but because it was actually ordained, is what I want to say, preordained. It was destined to occur so that immense healing could happen, so that we could get to a point of emotional independence for the Scorpio, okay? Another bottom of the deck energy we have is balance, okay? And also it's very reminiscent of a card that flashed up a lot in the pre-read, which is the Magician card. And the Magician actually is the number one of the tarot, and they're all about capability. They're all about having all the tools being prepared, okay? And you'll see here that this version of the Justice card is the same. It's got the cup, the chalice, the wand, and the sword. They are prepared. They have all of their needs met. Okay, there was roundabout way to get there again. Okay, so Back to current energies. The other two major arcana cards we have here are the World, okay, and the Hermit in reverse, okay? So the World is all about completions. It's about the ending of major cycles, but also the beginning of major cycles. It denotes success as well. And the Hermit is all about turning away, turning inward to determine. The Hermit is sort of the wise elder. Okay, they shut themselves off from the rest of the world in order to figure out what their own light is. Okay, I get that a hermit, sorry, a Scorpio has been doing that. All right, they're coming out of this Hermit energy, this period of needing to shut themselves off from others in order to figure out exactly what their truth is and how to let it guide them, okay? That period is over, okay? Or I want to say that it's an energy that you're coming out of, okay? Which card to read next? Okay. All right. So like I was saying, I'm connecting with a Scorpio who has had to do a lot of fighting, okay? The Five of Swords. Fives are all about conflict, chaos, change, okay? Mostly, more than anything else, they're about change, in my view. And the lesson of the lesson of this card is that of choosing your battles, okay? It's that of understanding that surely we all want to win, but that the idea of winning at a very high cost, okay? Winning at any cost. I often see this card as a sort of, certainly in the upright, a sort of a negative thing. Not negative, how do I put that? As a difficult energy, okay? A difficult energy that people go through where, and certainly I find myself in this energy a lot, because for many reasons, no doubt, but I'm a Gemini and I'm all about air and talking, all about words, communication, and I also have a tendency to want to be right all the time, and so these two come together in a kind of vortex of difficult energy where I don't always pick my battles appropriately, okay? I'm actually getting that the Scorpio I'm connecting with, they were fighting. They had to win at any cost, but it was valid. It was a valid win at any cost mentality, okay? So I'm connecting with a Scorpio who had to very much fight to release themselves from these beliefs, whether they were their own or they were the beliefs of somebody else, a partner, friends, family, even a wider work circle. But they've had to fight in order to do that. So first, this Scorpio was in this energy of being trapped, not physically trapped. They may have felt physically trapped, but certainly it was in a, not in an emotional, but a mental trap, okay? And because of that energy, they were forced to go inward and figure out, are these my swords? Are they my thoughts? Are they my beliefs? And if they are, do I really believe them, or was it something that I've just been told my whole life and so I adopted it as my own belief, okay? And in that way, I've trapped myself. But I also believe that when we trap ourselves in that way by accepting the false beliefs of others, it is because we have chosen to do so in I want to say a previous life, but not a previous life, outside of life. Before coming here, we chose to go through this so that we would have the opportunity to turn inwards, to be the hermit, to figure out what our light is, and then let that guide us, okay? So, this Scorpio was mentally trapped. In order to release themselves, they did exactly, snaps for you, they did exactly what needed to be, okay? They did exactly what they needed to do, and they went inward, all right? In doing that, this Scorpio determined that a lot of those swords weren't their own, okay? Maybe a few were, but they weren't their own. So the Scorpio had to sort of, I want to say fight to the death, but I don't actually mean death. I mean fight to the bitter end, right? In order to release themselves from this. And I want to say, for some of you, it might be an actual romantic relationship. For some of you, it might be breaking away from your familial beliefs. For some of you, you felt actually trapped. Okay, but anyway, moving on. The Scorpio, once they figured out what their truth was, they laid down the swords that weren't theirs, okay? And in that way, they found an opening to this, sword cage. They found an opening by laying down the swords that weren't theirs, all right? And in that way, they were able to free themselves, okay? And I see that the Scorpio is still holding on to a belief or two that isn't theirs. They're still somewhat battling mentally with some of their ideas, some of their beliefs, and whether or not they're truly their own. But this is something that we go through our whole lives doing, okay? Laying down the swords that aren't ours, all right? All right, so through this process that we've been discussing, Scorpio has been, like I talked about in the pre-energy read, the Scorpio, through conquering their fears, and I do want to say like their fears that were pinned to them by these beliefs, but also their fears that these beliefs were actually theirs, their fears that this is how the world really is, their fears that their beliefs were real, okay? Through this process, they've been able to conquer that, all right? And because of that, they're now in a very different position. They're in a position of maximum growth, of abundance, of I want to say even a slow growth, like a slow crescendo, right? It's just going to keep getting better if you stick to your path, stick to the light that you have found, okay? Stick to the swords that are actually yours. So the king is in the tarot. There's different ways of looking at it, but I see it as the queen. So in terms of the royalty cards, the page, knight, queen, king, they go in that order in terms of a hierarchy, okay? And yes, this system was created within a patriarchal system. So in that way, the queens are technically below, but they aren't, in my view, there's no like value difference between them. The queens are just as valuable. They're just an opposing energy, okay? So where the queens are the feminine energy, the kings are the masculine energy. Doesn't mean you have to be in a masculine or feminine energy when you get the cards, but the point of that is to say that the queens are more about being receptive. They're more about understanding, whereas in my view, and then the kings are more about action. Okay, so acting from a place of understanding. All right.